Dear friends, today I will talk about education in a wisdom society. Education plays one of the most important roles. Well, of course, making food and etc. and energy, we already talked about it, but education we said very little. So education, it is not only for children and teenagers and whatnot. It's an ongoing process of learning and acquiring more and more knowledge and wisdom. So it starts, of course, from the beginning when in nucleus the child is raised. It learns a lot, particularly that it is within the community and each contribute to increasing the child, expanding its horizon and increasing its knowledge, and child participate in the activities of the community, becomes, without losing its being a child, becomes much quicker than generally it's assumed and allowed an intelligent human being, not the little stupid child which do the stupid childish thing. It does that, of course. It's a child. It loves to play, likes to make tricks, whatever a child likes. But at the same time, it learns. This format of this learning is pretty open and left for the nucleus to decide. However, nucleus members do not possess all the abilities in various directions which education should go, and that has to be done already in the larger entity. If it doesn't, it goes to conventional schools, if it is an obligation in a given area, or it could be a so-called home education. Then several nucleuses, a village, can arrange it a school approved by proper authorities, etc., but not necessarily teaching only the things which given curricula obliged. It is I'm sorry, I am laughing because my little dog stole the toilet paper and ran away, which could be behind. I don't have to. My wife will deal with this problem. Here, honestly, I do believe, on my basis of my experience, that existing curriculum is extremely badly designed. It's a concoction of tradition from Middle Ages to which we add this and that and this and that. Like children learn to do the writing by hand in the era of computers. when hardly, of course, they can learn scribing, etc., but not trying to spend enormous amount of time to teach children that, instead of teaching them how to utilize tablets or whatever it could be used to writing. The same goes with arithmetics. It is, we children spend hours and days and weeks learning simple arithmetic, how to multiply, divide, and later on, poor things have to learn how to extract square roots, which never in their life will do it in the era of computers, when you have a little app and you press few buttons and you have not only square roots but roots of nth degree, etc., etc., etc. The whole teaching of mathematics basically can go to, most of it, to garbage. Instead, they can learn what students are learning at the university, which is much, much, much simpler, because it's much more intuitive and it provides its more overview of the world, like set theory, algebra, abstract algebra, or even algebraic topology. It is not difficult. It is very simple to show a child that something has a hole and something without a hole and cannot be by, they can use the plasticine and see that they will have to glue it or turn it around. Here we have already foundation of topology and geometry. I'm not trying to make curriculum, but I'm just indicating that that has to be revamped from scratch, revamped. Not what they do now. They try to combine the medieval method with modern, and as a result, the children don't know either. The whole biology, it's fascinating. It's completely so interesting, and children can experiment. The same with physics. This more and more experimentation, less and less teaching, telling him how it is. Mrs. Teacher or Mr. Teacher will tell you, and you sit and listen and repeat and memorize. It's absurd. It's simply absurd to do it, but it is done. Instead of increasing curiosity, increasing creativity, increasing ability of to generalize for abstract thinking, you are suppressing it. Well, so the difference between these various levels of schools are artificial. Simply, it depends on the propensity and interest of a given child or younger, or teenager or younger person, what interest it, and that will be the area where it can specialize. It could be something like more what we call right now engineering. I have to use the conventional terms, meaning creating something which is for everyday's use, or event, or something which creates things for everyday use. It could be much more creative in a sense of artistic. About art I will talk separately. It could be in terms, well, art I meant visual art. It could be music, could be singing. It could be the things which humanity does have been doing for 100,000 of years. And that again is completely calcified, and again we slightly expand our minds from Western medieval times. We don't even know how it was taught in other countries, because essentially the whole world, one way or another, mimics and try to adjust its own culture to the European culture, which is nothing against European, but we are losing a lot of ancient knowledge, ancient art. That's the way it is, and that it is not the way it needs to be. If it will be allowed, our education will allow people to expand. Finally, for today, finally, not the thing, to education I will include the mind training, because that's an ongoing situation which can start in a very early childhood, and members of the society follow it until they die, because there's always something new to discover and learn. And it's not that there are classes and grades, etc. Simply allowing natural curiosity and allowing reading what people already accomplished, see what's ancient and completely unapplicable, and see what is very interesting and could be easily adapted to the current world. So in other words, to summarize, education is an ongoing process which never ends. Not ends that somebody gets this or that degree, or doesn't get this or that certificate or the other certificate. No, it's an organic process which goes on and on and on. And who are the teacher? Of course, there are certain people who professionally can organize and use it, but the world is the teacher, and people properly allow others, the teachers, to access this repository. Okay, let's call it repository. Okay, so that's everything I had to say about education, and I took it as the first one because without that, all the demons of stratification will raise its ugly, poisonous heads. Ah, that was good. So, Goodbye, dear friends. Until next time.